Hey, good afternoon. The sun is out. It's really gorgeous, except for the little bit of wind. And behind me, I realize you can't see much, but there's an arena and there's actually a duck pen. And when you hear the ducks coming by, you'll not mistake a quack. And behind that is a cornfield. Now, for those of you who don't know anything, Southerners, city people, corn is a crop, and it is a vegetable, but it's also a high in starch. And we sell corn. Most of our corn that we plant and sell goes to ethanol because it's a very good renewable resource. It's got a lot of power in it, which has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about. But the invisible cornfield you cannot see has some surprises. So a couple years ago during COVID, I did a kids Let's Farming series, and we went out into the field. And the corn was about 4 inches high, which is close to what it is now. Some fields are up to 8 to 10 inches tall. But when it's about 4 inches tall, when you dig it out and you pull the root up, it's at least as tall as it is long, and sometimes it's twice as long as it is above the ground. It's underneath the ground. And that's because it's building a root system. And the root systems are extremely important for growth, to get the nutrients out of the soil, but it's also going to grow down to where the moisture is. So if there's a lot of moisture in the topsoil, it's not going to go quite as deep. But you want your corn roots to go nice and deep into the soil, get the nutrition that it can, and build stability. Now, when you think about it, if someone was to dig us up, what would they see our roots being, how deep they are, or what they're dug into, or what they're reaching for? And we know corn is going to grow with water, moisture, with sunlight, and with growth units. It's called heat units. So we know that's what makes corn grow. What makes us grow as a believer? What makes us grow? Well, it's being in the Word, it's fellowship with other Christians, and it's spending time with God. It's that sunlight, the SON light, you get it? And our heat units are other people, friction by friction, people accountable, talking it out, working out your salvation with other people. And then the Word of God is the moisture units. And we can have them all, but if we have them, we don't grow deep and search for them, then our roots are going to be kind of wimpy. And when the wind comes along, or when we get a drought, or when something happens, we can tell which part of the corn in the field's growing well by the way it looks on top. If it's yellow, it needs something. If it's deep green, if it's wilted, that tells us a lot about what's going on in the root structure. And we're absolutely no different. People look at us and see us bouncing back and forth, and the first thing to think of is, you didn't get grounded. You need grounding. You need people around you. You need the Word. You need some time alone with God. And I know we can't do that. We can dig up a little corn root and we can see everything, and we can't do it with ourselves. But we can. You know where you spend your time. You know who you spend your time with, and you know when you spend quiet time. Just make sure they are in amounts that you're going to grow, you're going to thrive, and that you get nourishment from. So when the winds start blowing and maybe the droughts come, you're going to have the root system spiritually that you desperately need to grow. Enjoy this beautiful day, because this is what makes the corn grow.